Stop looking for the light. Most of you are here because you are exhausted. You have read the scriptures. You have practiced the techniques. You have intellectually dissected the nature of the ego until you can explain non-duality better than you can explain your own life. Yet, you feel a profound, aching numbness. You feel that despite all your knowledge, the you that suffers is still very much alive, still very much in control, and still very much afraid. This is the great deception of the modern spiritual marketplace. The promise that transformation is an addition. We are sold the idea that enlightenment is a layer of peace we add to our existing personality. We think we can keep our history, our preferences, and our comfortable identities and simply decorate them with awareness. It is a lie. Real transformation is not an addition. It is a subtraction. It is a burial. It is a terrifying, claustrophobic constriction where everything you think you are must be suffocated. To escape the prison of your limitations, you cannot simply walk out the front door. You must do the unthinkable. You must voluntarily enter the shroud of the dead. You must die so that you can live. Today, we are not talking about philosophy. We are done with concepts. Today, we are talking about the visceral reality of the burial sack. Welcome back to the House of Luminosity. We are continuing our deep dive into the Monte Cristo Archetype. In our previous episodes, we explored the betrayal, the descent into the unconscious, and the education under the Abbé Faria. We watched as Edmond Dantès moved from naive innocence to intellectual clarity. He learned the who and the why of his suffering. He received the map to the Spada treasure. But here lies the trap that catches so many seekers on the path of self-inquiry. We often mistake intellectual clarity for liberation. Knowing why you are in a psychological prison does not open the door. Possessing the map to the treasure does not make you wealthy if you are still locked in a dungeon. You can know all the spiritual truths in the world. You can quote Ramana Maharshi. You can understand the mechanics of trauma perfectly. But if you do not cross the threshold of physical action, you remain a prisoner with a very well-educated mind. Today, in episode 4, we face the transformation. This is the pivot point of the entire saga. This is the moment where philosophy must become physical reality. We are looking at the burial sack. In the non-dual tradition, there comes a terrifying threshold. You have inquired, "Who am I?" You have stripped away the illusions, but there is a final barrier. The body itself, the nervous system, and the survival instinct hold onto the ego. It does not go quietly. It must be suffocated. It must be drowned. Today we step inside the sack with Dante to experience the dark baptism that changes a man into a force of nature. The tragedy strikes. Abbé Faria, the surrogate father, the guru, the source of all wisdom, dies. This is not just a plot point. It is a critical spiritual reality. As long as the guru is physically present, the student can rely on him. The student can remain a child, intellectually fed by another. We see this today. We consume content. We listen to teachers, and we feel safe because they hold the wisdom. We outsource our realization. But for the transformation to be complete, the external teacher must disappear. The form must die so the teaching can be internalized. Dantès is left alone with the corpse of his mentor and the map to the Spada treasure. Consider his position deeply. He has the gnosis, the knowledge. He knows who betrayed him. He knows where the ultimate power lies hidden on the island of Monte Cristo. But physically, he is still trapped in the Chateau d'If. This is the exact state of many who study high-level philosophy. We understand the concepts. We know that we are not the body, not the mind. We understand that the ego is a construct, but we are still in the cell. We are still suffering. Why? Because The body has not yet followed the mind. The realization has not dropped from the head into the heart. The nervous system is still wired for the old identity. Dantès realizes that the gods will never carry a living man out of the fortress. They only carry out the dead. And in a moment of terrifying lucidness, he understands what he must do. He cannot walk out as Edmond Dantès. Edmond Dantès is a prisoner. Prisoners stay in cells. Only the dead are free to leave. He moves Faria's body to his own cell and takes the place of the corpse inside the burial sack. This is the first step of the true transformation, the willingness to abandon the identity you have clung to for survival. For 14 years, being Edmond Dantès was his resistance. It was his way of fighting back. I am innocent. I have a fiancé. I am a sailor. These were his anchors. Now, he must voluntarily wrap himself in the canvas of death. He must agree to be nothing. He must agree to be a corpse. This is the surrender of the I that claims a history. To be reborn, you must first consent to your own funeral. Let us dwell on the sack. We must not skip over this. In the novel, Dumas describes the sensory deprivation, but we must look at the psychological horror of this moment. Dante sews himself in. He takes the knife, his only tool, and hides it against his chest. The sack is the ultimate constriction. In yoga and mysticism, we often speak of the knots of the heart, the granthis, that bind the soul to the body. The sack is the physical manifestation of the ego's final defense. It is tight, it is rough, it smells of death. It is the womb turned into a tomb. When you enter deep meditation or serious self-inquiry, you often hit a phase of intense claustrophobia. The mind panics. It feels like you are dying. The darkness is no longer comforting. It is heavy. It presses against your eyes. This is the burial sack phase of the path. You are cut off from the senses. You are cut off from human validation. You are alone with your heartbeat and the terrifying realization that you might not survive this transition. Dante lies there for what feels like an eternity. He hears the footsteps of the gravediggers. He feels them lift him. He is handled like an object. Think about the discipline required here. This is the ultimate test of the will. He must play dead while his heart is pounding with the desire to live. He must be utterly limp while his survival instinct is screaming to fight, to kick, to scream, I am here. This is the death of the doer. He cannot act yet. He must submit to the forces of fate represented by the gravediggers, carrying him to his destination. He does not know where they're taking him. He assumes a cemetery. He assumes earth. He is prepared to dig his way out of the soil. This shows the limit of his planning. The ego always thinks it knows how the transformation will happen. I will meditate, and then I will gently float into enlightenment. I will escape, and then I will walk to freedom. But the universe, or divine providence, has a different plan. The sack is not going into the ground. As he is carried on the stretcher, the rhythm of the walking, the cold air biting through the canvas, the muffled jokes of the guards, it all serves to reinforce his alienation. He is no longer one of them. He is a secret hidden in the guise of death. This is the incubation period. The chrysalis is not a beautiful place. It is a place of liquefaction. Inside that sack, the innocent sailor is dissolving. The man who trusted people is dissolving. What remains is a singular, sharp point of will. Then comes the moment of absolute shock. The gravediggers swing the sack. 1, 2, 3. He is thrown. He expects hard earth. He braces for the impact of soil. Instead, he falls through the air. The sensation of gravity taking him is the final loss of control. And then the impact. The icy shock of the sea. The Chateau d'If does not bury its dead. It feeds them to the ocean. This is the dark baptism. Water is the universal symbol of the unconscious, the infinite, the source of all life and death. To be thrown into it tied inside a sack with a 36-pound cannonball tied to your feet is the ultimate ordeal. The sensation of the cold water penetrating the sack is the awakening. It is the difference between thinking about death and drowning. The shock clears the mind instantly. There is no room for philosophy here. There is no room for plans, for memories, or for the count. There is only the biological imperative to survive. Dante cut the sack. That knife which Faria made is the tool of discrimination, the viveka. It is the intellect used sharply to sever the binding. He slashes the fabric. He struggles free from the cannonball. The heavy weight of his past karma, the weight of the prison, he kicks upward. This ascent from the depths is the rebirth. When he breaks the surface and gasps for air, he is filling his lungs with a new world. The air tastes different. The night sky looks different. The Edmond Dantès who went into the sack drowned. The man who surfaces is something else entirely. He has been washed clean of his victimhood. He has been washed clean of his naive hope. The ocean is vast, dark, and indifferent, and he realizes he is now a part of that vastness. This is the crucial shift Ramana speaks of, when the I thought sinks back into the heart. The old identity is submerged. What remains is the self, but in Dante's case, this self is cold, hard, and purposeful. He is no longer a man defined by what others do to him. He is now the water itself, fluid, dangerous, and deep. He swims to the Isle of Tiburon. He survives. But look at his psychology now. He does not thank luck. He does not merely thank God in the way a peasant prays for rain. He views his survival as a divine mandate. If he was meant to die, he would have drowned in that sack. The fact that he lives means that God has saved him for a specific purpose. He views himself now as an instrument of providence. This is a subtle but massive shift in the non-dual understanding of agency. The ego believes I do this. The realized soul, or in this case the archetype of justice, believes I am being moved by a higher power. His body, which was once a vessel for suffering, is now a weapon. He is no longer the betrayed fiancé. He is the hand of God. This detachment is what makes the Count of Monte Cristo so terrifying and so charismatic. He operates without the hesitation of a normal man because he believes he has already died. You cannot kill a dead man. You cannot hurt someone who has already drowned his identity in the sea. The burial sack was the threshold. It was the necessary trauma that burned away the last vestiges of the boy who wanted to be happy. The man who emerges wants only balance. He wants the equations of the universe to be set right. The transformation is complete. The prisoner is gone. The corpse is gone. The count has arrived. We must ask ourselves, what is our burial sack? What is the identity we are clinging to that keeps us in the prison of our own suffering? Are we willing to let it die? Are we willing to be thrown into the unknown, to experience that dark baptism so that we may surface as something true? Dante is free, but he is penniless and alone on a rock. The transformation of the spirit has happened. But the acquisition of power is next. He has the map. Now he must claim the world. Join us in episode 5, where we travel to the caves of Monte Cristo and witness the inheritance. If you found value in this analysis, subscribe to the House of Luminosity. Leave a comment below. What is the sack you are currently trying to cut your way out of? Until then, remember, the only way out is through the dark.